Hello, hello. Happy Friday. Welcome to Guanyin practice. See, my drum has gotten. It's funny. Sometimes I don't notice things until I see them on the broadcast and I'm like, oh, that's there, my drum. How's everybody doing? And I hope that you are looking forward to a great weekend ahead. And if, like me, the weekend is when you work, I hope you're looking forward to a great work weekend. We are in the first week of the month of June, the month of the Black Madonna in the Mount Shasta Goddess Temple. And the oracle we're working with is this one, the Mother Mary Oracle by text by Alana Fairchild, art by Sophia Shiloh McLeod. It's a beautiful deck. Yesterday was Our Lady of Truth, and I did have a couple opportunities yesterday to be in my truth, kind of whether anyone liked it or not. But it was a good exercise in sort of standing with my voice, keeping my voice true. So today we'll see what comes up. Let's dive in now. We're going to do the Salve Regina. With the candle that I got at the Shrine of Guadalupe in Mexico City. Salve Regina, Mater Misericordiae, vita dulcedo, et spes nostra salve. A te clamamus, exules filii Heve, a te suspiramus, gementes et flentes, in hac lacrimarum vale. Ea ergo, advocata nostra, illos tuos misericordes oculos, ad nos converte. Et Jesum benedictum fructum ventris tui, nobis post hoc exilium ostende. O clemens, O pia, O dulcis Virgo Maria. Once when I was traveling in England, I went to the Shrine of the Black Madonna at Aylesford, and there was a chapel there with perfect acoustics. And I sang that song in there, and it was an unforgettable moment just to be able to sing in that space and hear how the space had been designed for sound. Today is Our Lady of the Rose Crown. You are my child and a royal divine being. I protect your spiritual deepening now as you descend further into the living divine heart and know all to be love. As the mysteries reveal themselves to you now, divine rapture awaits you. I shall keep you grounded and authentic, productive in the world that needs your light, even as I guide you into ecstatic communion with your holy nature. No matter where we think we are on our spiritual path, there is always something deeper to experience. Our Lady of the Rose Crown appears when you are about to enter into another level of your spiritual experience. This new level will be appropriate and healing for you, taking you naturally along in your spiritual progress. What might be suitable for another is unlikely to be exactly right for you. Our Lady watches over you with all-knowing tenderness and fierce protection. Only what you need will come to you now. You have been preparing for this time, quite possibly without realizing it consciously. It can take years of preparation to be ready for the next level of spiritual awakening. In fact, I would say I myself am at the culmination of a 3-year cycle and can feel it. I didn't know that was the case, but it does feel to be the case. In order to be prepared, we might have to be challenged in a relationship that really stretches or breaks our heart. In that situation, we learn to love more unconditionally while either learning to let go of the relationship or stay with it, depending on what's right. We might experience weeks, months, even years of not really knowing what to do with any certainty, or knowing if we're on the right path or living the life we're supposed to be living. When we have that continued crisis, we learn how to remain present, open, and to learn to trust even in the absence of clarity. Or maybe everything in our life seems to be turning upside down. A loved one struggling, or our own inability to resolve an issue that has troubled us deeply for some time is causing us to feel unbearable anguish. No matter what the crisis or challenge, the way that we have learned to respond and grow through it has provided us with the development that we need to be able to sustain the next level of divine experience. Love is the most powerful force in our universe. It is in everything, and it reveals itself in unlimited ways. To encounter this love, to be open to it, ready to receive it, to be changed, illuminated, and radiant from it, takes tremendous energy. The presence of the Divine Mother is very real and extremely powerful, like the energy of the sun. She gives life, but equally, this energy can be destructive if we do not acknowledge and manage the effect of its power upon us. What is loving and uplifting at one phase of our journey will not necessarily be enough to lift us into the next phase. There's more required. For this next phase, perhaps we need more challenge, or we need to leave behind what we thought we knew and how we thought we needed to live in order to allow more of the divine to live through us in the world. Our Lady of the Rose Crown comes to tell you that you have been in preparation, and now the time is fast approaching, or is already upon you, whereby you are opening to more divine realization. This is a sacred and precious gift, and it is happening in perfect accordance with your own spiritual growth. She asks that you drop preconceived expectations of how this will manifest and simply be present to what is happening within you and your life right now. What you are being shown is more of the divine in its mysterious, creative, funny, and unfathomable genius. If you've been wondering about your spiritual growth, noticing that you are perhaps judging others less or able to hold compassion more easily, then this oracle comes as a confirmation that you are going through a spiritual growth spurt and more is to come. If you've been feeling as though you're being tested with a recurring issue, this oracle comes with the guarantee of divine success and the awareness that you are passing your spiritual tests and the Great Mother is in celebration with you. Soon you will feel that, and you will join her in delight. Our Lady of the Rose Crown, depicting a beautiful woman of color. Her face is very serene. She's got a veil and a diadem, and she has 3 roses at her crown and a flaming heart rising here at her chest. When awareness comes upon us, we can sometimes mistake it. We'll think that it's just that life is difficult, or things aren't working, or things feel like they're challenging right now. Feels like things aren't going exactly the way we hoped or thought they would or should. We might experience a disconnect of our power, feeling like we're not in our power, not operating from a strong, stable, grounded, both feet on the earth kind of a way. In fact, when you're learning to fly, you cannot leave both feet on the ground. You've got to lift, and you've got to learn to balance, and you've got to learn to work with the wind, and you have to learn to account for the ways that you are a dynamic object in a dynamic and moving field, where there isn't necessarily an anchor or a branch even to grab onto. We are challenged in our spiritual growth, especially in the Dharma, to release clinging. Clinging. In many different Dharma texts, you'll see that particular word, clinging. I release clinging. That sense of needing to hold on, that holding and holding. I'm in this really interesting thing that's going on. I'll just, if I may speak personally for a moment, I'm in this really interesting thing going on where I'm doing like a deep clean in my house. And, I do like one really deep clean once a year, but then this year I'm doing like a deep, deep clean, as in like taking everything out of drawers and closets, going through absolutely everything. I once worked with, without getting really deeply into it, in his later years, my dad sort of became a hoarder. And that's a psychological thing, probably born of growing up impoverished, but he became acquisitive, always needing things. And he would forget that he had things because they were tucked away. And then he would buy the same thing. So when he passed on, we discovered like he had 3 iPads that were unopened because he had bought them and put them away and then forgotten that they were there and then gotten another one. And who knows, how long he gathered things. So a few years ago, I decided I was going to break that cycle. I was going to not inherit that tendency. So what I did was I hired a professional organizer to come and help me. I chose to invest in myself for a summer. She came once a week for about an hour. And she said, when she walked in the door of my house, she said, by the time we're done with this, I will have touched absolutely everything you own. And I was like, okay, that's a weird lot. But what she taught me was so valuable. And so I do all of the things she taught me to this day. So once a year, I do a major deep clean in my house where I just like take a lot of things apart, but not absolutely everything. But every couple of years, I touch everything I own, absolutely everything. And I take it out. I get rid of stuff. I go through things. I give things away. I, repair things that I've put aside that needed repair. I do all of it. And so I'm in that. So this card is really timely today because my house is a disaster. You wouldn't know that I actually took this whole room apart last night, but I've put it back together for today. But there's more I'm going to do in here. And you'll know because this altar will change eventually. Sometime this summer, this altar will change. Certain aspects of it will change. So when we're about to level up in life, we have these kinds of opportunities where we can either just blithely keep going along, clinging to whatever it is that we have thought defined us, or we can take a radically different approach and we can let go and we can learn to fly. We can learn to let go of the branch. We can learn to lift off. We can learn to wobble in the wind and have it be okay. This time around, one of the things that I'm noticing that's a really big deal for me, actually, in my deep clean of my house, is that I am getting rid of things that I've had for in some cases, 20 years or more. Things that I felt when I would move into a new place defined my living there. So there were certain items that I was like, okay, once I hang this thing up in my new apartment, that means I live there. And I'm actually getting rid of those things because I can see in myself a clinging there to some identity that doesn't actually necessarily reflect where I am right now. So I invite you today to look at anywhere in your life that you might be clinging, that you might be holding, that you might be feeling like you absolutely need something, and think to yourself why. It doesn't mean you have to get rid of it, but interact conscientiously with it so that it doesn't own you. In the end, it's better that our things not own us. And that doesn't just mean our items. It can also mean our attitudes, our beliefs, our self-definition, our, whatever words we would use to describe our identity. Really, it's best not to let any of that own us. So that's our short bit for today, if that's what you were here for. And now let's dive into Guanyin practice with 3 prostrations before the shrine. And let's take refuge. Namo Guru Be. I take refuge in the inner teacher. Namo Buddhaye. I take refuge in the great mother of compassion. Namo Dharmaye. I take refuge in the wisdom of the ages. Namo Sanghaye. I take refuge in the community of practitioners. And let's set our intention today, a person, place, situation, or circumstance that will benefit from today's practice. And let's recite the 4 immeasurables. May I be a source of loving kindness in this world and all worlds, bringing a generous heart to all my thoughts and doings. May I be a vehicle of compassion in this world and all worlds, ever mindful and aware of the tremendous suffering of others. May I be a brimming vessel of joy in this world and all worlds, delighting in the happiness of others as their suffering is alleviated. May I be a balanced point of equanimity in this world and all worlds, seeing all as equals and all as deserving of goodness. I light this candle as a symbol of the enlightening Dharma way. May it shine brightly for the benefit of all beings. I light this incense as an offering for Guan Xiyin, she who hears the cries of the world, mother of all. Om Ahum. 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 Reverently I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and virtual. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the meditation of all holy and ordinary beings. Please, Guanyin, remain until the end of samsaric existence, and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of others to the great enlightenment. 108 recitations now of Namo Guanxin Pusa as we are going to be awakening that part of ourselves that is ready for spiritual growth and transformation. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Guan Shi Yin Pusa. 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. Lume chuksum chidang jetsun ma galyum pakma drome jintu yi daki tsesu paljor nyandrak nam yornu dodang yarji soshin du kepar kaje wangtang lungta nam nyampa soshing chetu gawa long chije lekpe lamdu drowa dang sering neme de dang den shi. Through the blessing and power of the unfailing Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and of Jetsunma, mother of the Buddha's noble Tara, may our lifespan, merit, prosperity, and renown increase like a waxing moon, like a rising summer lake. Especially may our good fortune, Wangtang and Windhorse, be healed when they weaken, rejoined when interrupted, raised up when sinking down. May whatever we do turn out well, and may long life, good health, peace, and happiness be ours. Lume choksum chidang jetsun ma galyum pakma drome jintu yi daki tsesu paljor nyandrak nam yarnu dadang yarji tsoshindu kepar kaje wangtang lungta nam nyampa soshing chetu gawa long chije lekpe lamdu drowa dang sering neme dedang den shi. And now 108 recitations of Om Mani Padme Hum, sending out that light of love and compassion to all who need it. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 And let's give thanks to our teachers. May all of my blessed teachers enjoy long, happy, healthy, productive lives and great support for their good works. May all beings benefit from their wisdom. May they enjoy a swift and happy rebirth. And long life prayer for Lama Dechen Yeshe Wangmo. Om Sosti. Through the powerful blessings of the immortal Pema Jungye and his consort, may the three secret qualities of the Dakini of Supreme Bliss Yeshe Wangmo be utterly stable, and may the light of her activities shine on the lotus groves of the teachings and of beings so that they blossom in radiant splendor. And let's dedicate the merit. May the merit of this practice and all of my activities be of endless benefit to all beings in all realms, beginningless and continuous. May all obstacles be overcome and suffering cease at the sound of liberation. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May we carry the essence of Guanyin in our hearts. Namo Guanxin Pusa. And we close with a bow to Guanyin, bow to one another, and bow to the inner teacher. Don't forget to drop your counts in the comments after the practice today. I'm happy to report that we are over 300,000 recitations in our million mantra count. So thank you so much for being part of that, and sending everyone a good weekend ahead. Be back Monday.